Hello and welcome to Wednesday Wandering with me, Kate Field. Wandering about stuff and not just wandering off. This is our precious space for gentle reflection, for thinking about beauty and soulfulness in the middle of the week. I do hope you are well. Today is Wednesday the 23rd of July and we've just passed the feast day of St Mary Magdalene, observed each year on the 22nd of July, yesterday. So today I want to pause with her, not just as a saint or symbol, but as a woman who has lived through centuries of distortion, devotion and artistic reimagining. Mary Magdalene is a figure I return to again and again. Not the composite version so often handed down and misunderstood and mislabelled, even maligned, but the woman named in the Gospels. A woman of presence, of witness and of love. She is there at the foot of the cross. She is there in the garden at dawn. She is the first to see, the first to hear. She heard her name being called by the risen Christ, Mary, and the first to carry the news of the resurrection to everybody else. In Eastern traditions, she is known as equal to the apostles, and her role is honoured as one of authority and devotion. But for centuries, Western portrayals have blurred her story, folding in other unnamed women, overlaying repentance, sexualised imagery and all sorts of other stuff as well. But the truth of her clear-eyed faithfulness and her central devotion often, I think, slips between the cracks. Writers and artists have long been drawn to her. In literature, she appears as a mystic, penitent, an apostle, a lover, a saint. And in art, she's often cloaked in red, weeping with her hair loose, surrounded by symbols of repentance, the skull, the ointment jar. One important example is by Annibale Carrucci, the Bolognese painter whose Magdalene reflects both tenderness and contrition. Carrucci paints her with a lowered gaze, delicate emotions bathed in a soft light. It's not that dramatic. I feel it's deeply human. And today I also want to shift the focus from Magdalene's own image to something that complements her spirit. The painting not of her, but of the Virgin Mary. And I am just being self-indulgent here because this painting means so much to me. Its colour, stillness sometimes seems to echo the inner strength. But it's the strength I also see in Mary Magdalene. It's Virgin at Prayer by Sassoferrato. I'll get it right in a moment. Sassoferrato, or Giovanni Battista Salvi, painted in the 17th century. And he's known for his serene devotional images, particularly of the Virgin Mary. And Virgin at Prayer is one of his most beloved works. It's simple, it's quiet, and intentional. Mary's eyes are lowered, her hands folded. She's dressed in deep ultramarine, the sacred luminous blue drawn from the powdered lapis lazuli, more precious at that time than gold. There's no halo, no ornate background. It's just colour, stillness and presence. The blue is not decoration, it's devotion. This pigment was really difficult to obtain. It was hugely expensive, and so it was reserved for what the artist or the patron held to be most sacred and most important. So blue, in this sense, was a theological act, painter's prayer. My parents gave me a print of Virgin at Prayer when I left home to go to college, a little act of love, and I think they understood what it meant, a reminder of calm, of rootedness, of something quietly enduring, and I still have the print and it means a huge amount to me. It's in my studio. So in this blue, I do see something of the Magdalene, not in the subject, but in the soul, a woman of depth of stillness, of mystery. A presence that holds its truth, even when misunderstood by the world, or so it seems. Let's now turn to another painter, another one of my favourite painters, but one who brings us to Mary Magdalene's inner world in a very different way. Artemisia Gentileschi was one of the great women of the Italian Baroque, and she painted Mary Magdalene not as an icon, but as a human soul in grief. In her work, Mary Magdalene as Melancholy, Mary is shown as seated, absorbed in thought, tears barely held back. There's no halo, no dramatic gesture, but instead her hand is against her brow, there's a slump in her posture, her body visibly carrying emotion. Gentileschi, who knew trauma intimately, paints Magdalene not as a repentant sinner, but as a woman feeling, as someone navigating sorrow, memory, and spiritual transformation. There's a profound truthfulness in this painting, one that doesn't tidy up emotion, but allows it space. What I find beautiful is that each painter offers us a way to meet Mary Magdalene, not as myth, but like a mirror. She's a part of us, perhaps that part that's been misunderstood, a part of us that sees clearly through the tears, the part of us that stays even when it hurts and loves through to the end. And artists through the centuries have continued to clothe her with reverence, to paint her with compassion, and to offer her back to us, not as symbols of shame, but as witness, as a witness of grace. So this week, I invite you to sit with these two portraits of Mary Magdalene and my favourite Virgin at Prayer. Carruccio's still, blue, cloaked Magdalene, quiet, composed, offering peace. Gentileschi's Melancholy Magdalene, raw, inward, and unadorned. Let them speak to different parts of you. And you could ask, what part of me needs stillness? What part of me needs to be seen in sorrow? What truth am I being invited to reclaim? And if you feel moved, you could create your own. Create your own Magdalene, a sketch, a poem, a colour study. Perhaps not for anybody else to see, just for you. You could clothe her in your own truth. Mary Magdalene teaches us this. The sacred is not in the perfection, but in the presence. It's not in being blameless, but in staying. Not in certainty, but in love. And whether you find her in blue silence or tear-streaked honesty, may she remind you that your story too is precious, and that your name too is known. Until next week, walk gently and remain close to what is true for you. Take care. Bye-bye.